Welcome back to Real Estate 101. Today we're going to continue our discussion on real estate law and talk a little bit about landlords and pets. And I'm pleased to be joined once again by Robert Adourian of Devery Smith Frank LLP. Robert, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, Robert, so I want to ask you, can a landlord deny a tenant from having a pet in one of their units?
If it is a rental house or a rental apartment building, they cannot.
Okay. Now, are there any exceptions?
There are some that are limited to situations like a dog that has been legislated to be dangerous, like a pit bull. And generally speaking, if your pet is creating a nuisance for neighbors, other tenants, or if the pet is causing damage to the property. But those are fairly limited exceptions, Joe.
Okay, so why would a landlord care if a tenant has a pet?
Well, from the tenant's point of view, the tenant thinks, well, the landlord isn't going to like it because the pet might make noise, might damage the property. But the real overriding concern, Joe, are dog bites. Because in a situation where a dog bites someone on your property, if you own the property, you're liable and there's really no defense.
Okay, Robert, so can a landlord require that a tenant obtain separate insurance to cover pet damage or maybe third party?
A landlord should always require their tenant to have a separate contents and liability policy. And in the case where there is a pet, they should make certain that the policy covers any damage that a pet might do or any injury that a pet might cause to a third party.
Okay. And what about condominium units? Are the rules the same when dealing with condos?
No, Joe, they're different because a condominium does have the right to pass a bylaw prohibiting pets or limiting the number of pets, for example. So if you are renting out a condominium unit to someone, you can make a provision to the lease that that tenant must abide by the rules of the condominium corporation. And if the rules say no pets, then it's no pets.
And are there any exceptions to these condo bylaws?
Yes. There are human rights code exceptions for situations such as service dogs, a dog that will help someone who is visually impaired or hearing impaired, or a situation where there is a medical opinion that the individual in the unit requires a pet for some kind of medical purpose.
Okay, so who determines if the pet is a nuisance or becomes a nuisance?
If the parties cannot agree, it would be decided by a court, and in that situation, the landlord would be required to call evidence because the onus is on the landlord to establish that the pet is causing damage to the property or interfering with the enjoyment of their properties by adjoining landowners or tenants.
Okay, so for today's final question, do you have any last tips for landlords that may deal with pets in their, with their tenants?
I think it's important for the landlord to be upfront with tenants about their concerns. If they do have pets, ask them about what type of pet it is, how long they've had the pet, and if they've had any bad experiences, and then of course to make certain that the tenant has adequate insurance.
All right, Robert, good stuff. Stick around. We're going to talk a little bit about some land transfer tax issues.
That'll be great, Joe.
If you're having any landlord or tenant issues and need the help of a top real estate lawyer, get in touch with Robert Adourian at Devery Smith Frank LLP. I'm your host, Joe Tercera. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.